Welcome to the Daily Fox Fuel, where we train kingdom-minded creatives, leaders, and builders to become highly skilled craftsmen. Each episode is your spark of strategy, scripture, and straight-up truth to help you walk out your calling with excellence. Now let's get to work. Yo, what's up, crew? Hopping right into it today because recently I've had to sit and dwell on this concept that we're about to talk through, but it's hit me personally in a lot of ways. It's something that I've been thinking deeply on. And I think I've always felt pretty convicted around this, just even taking responsibility for myself, my actions, who God's called me to be, the calling on my life. And today's whole concept and today's fuel, if you will, for you is to understand that your response truly is your responsibility. I think we live in a day and an age where a lot of people want to feel like what's happening to them can be controlled. But the reality is you can't. You cannot always control what's happening to you. Now you can control yourself, being in an environment, living in an environment, surrounding yourself with people, all that you can control, but you can't ultimately control what's happening to you. What you can control is how you respond to situations. Oftentimes we're in the heat of the moment, something's going on, something's happening, and we just feel this sense of needing to respond. We need to maybe do something without thinking that ultimately we regret. And I think it's more important than ever to just take a moment to pause before you respond. Control your response, because here's the thing, your response reveals your character. And that shows whether you're reactive or whether you're rooted. It's easy to see when speaking with somebody or being in a situation, especially a tense situation, where someone's just reacting and they're just being flustered and furious and they're moving fast and they're not taking responsibility for their response, right? Versus someone who's rooted. They're patient, they're thoughtful, they're thinking through their response. They have taken ownership of their response. They're taking responsibility of how they're going to respond, and then they respond in that manner. And here's the thing, we're leaders here. So leaders don't just feel emotions. Feeling is great. It's a powerhouse, power skill that God has given us, right? Feeling emotions is something beautiful, but when it crosses over into the emotions controlling our feelings, that's when it gets unhealthy. Feel something, be there, sit in that for a second, but your response is your responsibility. So you need to take that feeling, process that feeling, steward that feeling, steward the emotion, steward the moment, and respond accordingly. But feelings don't get to control us. They might feel like a reality, but it's most of the time it's not. It's a lot of times we have to process what's happening in the moment and then respond appropriately. There's a quote that I love of life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react. There's a quote I like to even say all the time to my team. It's not really ever how it's not ever what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. So when you take responsibility for your response, when you stop and slow down and think before you respond, process the situation, 9 times out of 10, it's usually diffused by yourself. You got to take a step back and think about it. And this is in whether good or bad situations. That's just how we need to approach life. Proverbs 15:1, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. A gentle answer. Think about that. There's almost more power in being patient than there is in being someone who just prosecutes all the time, pushes, just have a gentle answer, turns away wrath. It diffuses situations. It can bring a high tense situation all the way down into an easy, simple solution. You can't always choose the trigger, okay? You can't always control what's happening to you, but you can choose the tone. That is your responsibility. That is something you can control. It's all in how you tone things. It's all, and here's the deal. This isn't even just in bad situations. This is just in relationships. I've had people, I've had a friend recently who's like, oh, I just want to connect more with you. I wish I could spend it. But the way that they respond to me and the way that they talk to me is so surface level. Well, okay, how do you expect me to go deep with you if you're not willing to go deep with others? You don't get You don't get to ask for vulnerability from others and not be vulnerable first. It's not how it works. So, good or bad situations, this whole concept of your response is your responsibility factors into all of those areas. And I think it's most important as leaders, as builders, that we are thinking through this, especially when we're with our team, taking a moment to pause before we respond, because your response might be the difference between a setup or a setback. Hey crew, before you jet, make sure you share this episode with a friend and leave us a rating. Thanks for tuning in today. And remember, stay foxy.